Hi everyone, welcome back to Stamp with Anna. Today I'm going to show you another card using the new Stamparatus. And this time I'm going to use the Stamparatus as it was meant to be used, as a stamp positioning tool. And this is the card we're going to make. And the two elements of this card that I use the Stamparatus for are the frosting on the cupcake as well as the paper container for the cupcake. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. And on a piece of paper that is 3 3/4 by 5, I'm going to just score a quarter of an inch on all 4 sides. I'm just adding a little bit of dimension to my project. And I'm going to stamp on the side that has the lines raised. On this one here, I stamped on the side that was debossed and rather than embossed. So I have these raised lines here, and now I want to stamp my cupcake liner on it. And for that, I'm going to use my Stamparatus. And as I've shown you before, the Stamparatus has this grid line plate if you're going to use red rubber stamps, and then it has this foam mat if you're going to use photopolymer stamps, which is what I'm using. And then it has a plate that opens and closes on the side, and it has a plate that opens and closes from the top. And this way I can position up to 4 stamps, one on either side of these, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that, and one on either side of these, although I only need to use one side of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my Whisper white paper that I just embossed. And with my magnets, these magnets, as I keep saying, are super strong. And I have attached some painter's tape to mine simply so that when I need to pick them up from behind where they have a little slot there where they nest, let me just show you rather than tell you. They have these little slots here, one here and one here, and they're magnetized. So it's kind of hard to move these off, so I put a little tab on them so that I can just lift them off. So, with my paper in the corner, I'm going to put one magnet on the side and one magnet on the bottom. The magnets are very strong. You can really get away with just one. Excuse me. But I like to use the 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is make the liner. And I'm going to do the liner right on my card front. I'm going to do the frosting on a scrap piece of paper, and then I'm going to die cut it out. But my liner I want right on my card front. So I'm going to take my first stamp that I'm going to stamp up, and I'm going to put it right about here because that's where I want it to go. I'm going to press down, and it lifts my stamp up. And now with crumb cake, I'm going to stamp that right there. Then I'm going to take the second one, the second layer of my stamp, and I'm going to position that where I want it. Okay, and I'm going to bring this flap down. And now I'm going to ink that up with crumb cake. When I do these, I like to use the crumb cake, and I keep using this. I use the same color over and over, and each time the image is stamped, it's an extra layer, so it gets a little darker. I'm not really good at changing up the colors to get the look that I want, so I just use the same color, and you see how you can see that? So now I have one more layer, so I'm going to just pop this plate off. And it does just really pop right up. There you go. And I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to leave this here because when I need to make another card, it's right there. So now I'm going to take my third stamp and I'm going to line that up where I want it to go. And it's hard to see from the angle I'm in. My camera's in my way. I'm just going to hope that that's right. Looks good. And I'm going to come in, lift that up, and then I'm going to bring this down and press. And now I have my lined cupcake liner. Now, when I have my stamps on this, I do have a Lawn Fawn chamois, and I will just wipe my stamp off. And then, obviously, before I put them away, I mount them on a larger block, and then I will just run them over my Stampin' Scrubber. So for now, I'm just going to take them off. And I'm going to give this plate a little cleaning. Now I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to now work on my cupcake. I have a scrap of Whisper White, and I'm going to tuck that up in the corner. I'm going to use just one magnet. And I'm going to do my cupcake in Blushing Bride. So I'm going to take the first piece that I want and just line that right there. Bring that in and stamp it up with Blushing Bride. I'm sorry, it's Pink Pirouette, not Blushing Bride. Okay. And then I'm going to take my second one, and I'm going to place that where I'd like it to go. And again, my camera is in my way, so I may not get perfect placement here, but I will try. That looks right. Stamp that up. And press. Oh, that did. I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to place my third layer. Oh, I got it backwards. I'm going to place my third layer where I'd like it to go. Try to line that up. And press. And there I have a perfect frosted cupcake. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go run this through my Big Shot. I'm going to die cut it out with the framelit that comes. Oh, I didn't even tell you what I was using. I'm using the Sweet Cupcake stamp set for the stamping, and then I'm using the coordinating cupcake cutouts. So I'm going to go run this through my Big Shot, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have my little cupcake piece, and I'm going to put that aside. Now I'm going to wipe off my stamps with my chamois. Like I said, this is a Lawn Fawn chamois, and I just love it. It gets really, really dirty, and the ink doesn't come off. That's okay. It still cleans them beautifully. And I'm putting all of my stamps on this large block here. And with my chamois, I'm just going, the cleanup on this is just a breeze. So I'm going to take my chamois and just wipe it down. And I'm going to put that aside for storage. Now I'm going to put my card together. I'm going to bring my Pierce mat in because I'm using photopolymer. And I'm using, from the stamp set, these little like Jimmy type things. And I'm going to randomly stamp them all around. But I'm going to try to stay inside my embossed lines. And I'm going to try to just move the stamp around so that it doesn't look too symmetrical. When you're placing them, you always say, oh geez, that looks like a pattern. But when the whole thing is done and you look at it, it usually does look as random as you want it to look. And one more dot right there. Okay. Oh, drop that. Now I'm going to come in with my crumb cake, and with the stamp that says the best things in life are, I'm going to stamp that right about here. And again, I could use my Stamparatus so that it goes exactly where I want it to go, but it's such a small little thing, so I'm going to do it, just do it myself freehand. Okay. And that's all the stamping on the outside. Then I'm going to come in with some baker's twine. It is Blushing Bride baker's twine. I didn't have any pink pirouette, so Blushing Bride is close enough. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'm going to mount that onto a piece of crumb cake. This crumb cake is cut 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. All these measurements will be on my blog. Just a tiny little border here. And now I'm going to tie my ribbon, tie my baker's twine into a bow. I'm going to keep the bow off to the left here a little bit. I really have to have my nails done. I can't make a bow. And my nails have gotten too long. And then I'll just fuss with that. Okay, I'm going to cut my tails on this little bow. Let's fluff that loop up a little bit. And then I'm going to mount that onto my Flirty Flamingo. I'm just going to take a little bit of that adhesive overload. And now with 2 Stampin' Dimensionals, or maybe 3, I'm going to attach my frosting. And I'm going to put that right there. Now for the inside of the card, I know I don't usually do insides of cards with you. I just figure everybody puts their own message on the inside, and I don't know, I probably should do that so that my card does look complete. So if this says the best things in life are sweet, the inside I'm going to stamp it with the sentiment from the stamp set that says, and you are one of the sweetest. And then underneath that it says happy birthday. So I'm going to stamp that up with crumb cake. And I have them both mounted at the same time. And now I'm going to attach that to the inside of my card. And there we go. A card that is triple step stamping that was done so easily because of this great Stamparatus tool. I hope you've enjoyed the 3 videos that I showed you this week. The first one showing you how to line up an image, the same image over and over just by moving the hinge. The second card was to show you how you could heat emboss with the Stamparatus using the regular classic inks and not having to worry if you have the right color embossing powder. That's going to be my favorite way to use this, I'm sure. And then today, showing you how to line up your stamp, your 2 and 3 step stamps. Now there are a couple